Meeting of August the 2nd to order, please. Could I have a pledge of allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please. That's okay. Take your time, don't worry. It's the same three.
Yeah, no, but for the record, I guess we're good. Okay, Mayor Labriola.
Here.
Mr. Prickett. Ms. Conley.
Here.
Ms. Moffett.
Here.
Ms. Tillerson.
Here.
Mr. Wilson. He's still in the other room, is he not?
No, I was not, but he's here.
Yeah.
Okay, we have two sets of minutes, July 5th and, both of them are July 5th. Could I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments on the special call meeting minutes?
No, Mayor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And the second is again July 5th, and this is our regular council minutes. Any additions, deletions? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Mayor's update. Just a few items. In 2021, we had asked Kimley Horn to take a look at a number of projects, specifically two on Beach Walker. One was the bike path, and one was the intersection of Beach Walker and the Parkway. The bike path has been completed, so that worked out very, very well. In terms of the intersection of Beach Walker and the Parkway, the study is complete. They went through their planning process, and we had a great deal of community input and have a design. And we would be ready now to proceed with that in terms of sending it out for construction bids and the like. As we look at this project, Kimley Horn worked within the physical constraints that intersection provides. It's only so big, so wide, so long. So when we looked at it, we said, what if? What if there was more land to work with? What if the constraints could be somewhat expanded? That could things be better? Could the design allow for a substantial improvement? We talked to the owners of the real estate company who really have the property that would be most directly affected, and posed the question to them, what if? What if the town had some ownership, some influence, some control of the property, and the design could be changed that could somehow incorporate a better, more dramatic improvement to the intersection? And they said, well, that would be fine. We could take a look at that. Talk with the members of the leadership, Jerry McGee at the association, posed the same question to him. What if? What if there would be something that could be done, how it would affect the association and the throughput and the like? So nothing's been done, nothing's been negotiated, nothing's been agreed upon, nothing's been approved, but we're going to ask Kimley Horn to take a look at it under that, to open up the parameters and to see if there could be any kind of an improvement. And I think this is one of those things that no matter how many changes are made all around us, that intersection and that specifically that intersection is always going to be a bottleneck. So unless we take a look and do something more dramatic, we're always going to be confronted with a similar situation. So we'll keep everybody apprised, but we are going to talk with Kimley Horn and have them look at it in terms of a what-if proposition, and we'll see. And we'll see if there's, and we'll continue to keep the partners involved and the association involved and the community clearly involved. And so just wanted to announce that. Secondly, last Tuesday, the partners, again, announced in a meeting that they hosted with the Kiawah Island Club members that they were going to proceed with their 2 remaining projects on Beach Walker, Upper Beach Walker, and then Parcel 1, the remaining parcel of Lower Beach Walker. We have now received a preliminary plat on Upper Beach Walker. So again, I just wanted to just announce that, and that process has started. We have not received an application.
For Upper Beach Walker,
Upper-
we have received a preliminary plat. Did we receive one for parcel 13, lot 1 yet? No.
Yeah, I meant the preliminary plat, we have not received any site development, like site plan review application.
We've got 2 preliminary plats for parcel 13, lot 1, and for Upper Beach Walker.
Okay, we have the preliminary plats for those 2 parcels.
Yes.
So just to make sure everybody understands that. And the Andal,
If I could just add to that, when we say that we've received the preliminary plats, it doesn't mean that it's been approved.
right,
It has a process to go through, which is through the Planning Commission. We don't have a date yet of when that meeting is set, but we've just received the application, and then we review it to see if it's complete.
Good.
So it's at the very preliminary stages of even reviewing, but ultimately, it goes to the Planning Commission for consideration.
good, okay, thank you, Steph.
You're
Okay. And the Andal project, I'm not sure if we'd sent that out, but if, they have altered their application to a plan development
Right.
at the county level, and that is into the process with the county at this particular point in time. That's all I had. Citizen comments?
Alex Fernandez, 418 Snow Egret. My comment is with reference to item 1 on the consider approval of the proposal for comprehensive plan updating planning services. I saw that the contract is for $140,000. Was there an RFP done on this services? Because I only see one of the proposals in the
For the
material.
comprehensive plan?
Pardon me?
For the comprehensive plan?
Yeah, the comprehensive plan.
Yes, at the Ways and Means, it was explained that the town did submit an RFP. It was on our website. We received a number of people interested in the pre-application. We actually received 4 proposals. And what Ways and Means considered for funding was the difference, and council considered the approval is staff recommendation.
Okay,
who we
but
selected.
there was an RFP done then?
Correct.
That's fine, yes,
Yes,
great.
and it was on our website.
Okay, that was the
and
question,
published.
because there was only one of the proposals
And I
on here.
believe-
I guess
and
it's the last proposal, the proposal that's being accepted,
And
I
I'm
guess.
not sure if, John, if you put in your letter that we did receive, we posted an RFP in your cover letter to council?
In the cover letter, I didn't include all of the
But
proposals.
Yeah, well, it wasn't clear, but anyway,
Yeah.
that's fine. And then my second comment is, this is great that that's being done. I know it's been commented before, but I want to repeat it, is let's be sure that Kika is very engaged in this process.
the whole community
that.
would be engaged in the process.
The whole, I'm sorry?
The whole community can have an opportunity to be engaged.
Okay, well, you know,
include
Kika compromises a very large portion of the
Yes.
community, and so
Yeah.
I just want to be sure that, our management gets engaged in this proposal, or in this work that's being done, okay? That's
Yes.
all, that's my comment. Thank you.
Any other comments? For consent approval, we have 2 items from the Ways and Means Committee, the approval of the comprehensive plan update and the 1-year extension. Could I have a motion to approve, please?
I move that we approve both of the consent items.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, new business. First reading of traffic control and parking prohibition, tab 5.
That would be Mr. Director Harris. You have to come present your proposal along with Mr. Wilson, who helped write it.
The
Yes.
sign.
The picture.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So we've been receiving a lot of complaints regarding the traffic along the access to the river on Parkway, and pretty much we just went out and did an assessment and realized that there are several issues concerning safety. As you can see in the picture, maybe you can't see, but in the very end, you have a car. It was several cars sticking out of that parkway, and it's coming to a point that people are actually cramming their vehicles into that area. At the same time, we have 3 contract business that actually do the kayak, and I believe 2 of the representatives are here today. But we did come with a compromising solution to the issue, and that's to designate a loading and unloading zone just for that purpose, time restricted to that, as well as making some additional parking space for the public as well. Doing this will help with the safety for 1. 2, it will also help with the way how the cars are crowded in the area. The main concern is also with the traffic coming in and off the island. We have little kids also want to, have access with parents to this area. So we want to make sure that this area is a little safer than what it was. My understanding, you guys have been dealing with this for the last couple of years, and the increase of complaints are coming in tremendously. So we decided to have more of a parking restriction for the public as well as a loading and unloading zone. We did come up with some signs for it, got approved through the ARB with the signs. So we just want to go through the first reading. I believe we have a sample of the signs. And this sign is for,
This is the one, right? 2 hour.
yes. So that's for the public parking, designated public parking, and then the other sign will be for the loading zone only.
Can you show that other slide? Where will that specifically be at?
Okay. So, excuse my drawing. So when you see the onto your my right, maybe your right, I'm not sure what you're looking at, but anyway, you see where the yellow markings at. That's where the loading and unloading zone going to be.
Okay.
And that's to have a easier access to the river, and the other markings will be for public parking only.
And the loading and unloading is for,
Just for commercial only.
okay.
And the other designated parking is just for public parking, not for commercial.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So if, on the unloading part, so if I'm a kayak operator guy, I come there, I unload my kayaks, get them down to the river, whatever I do. If it's an hour-long kayak, I've got to move my vehicle then
Correct.
and then come back again to pick them up. That's the premise?
Correct.
Thank you.
And what Craig said earlier is this has been a problem, but I think this is a good recommendation to finally resolve it. It recognizes that space is used to unload the kayaks, put them back up,
Yes.
but it also gives residents a time frame in which they can park.
Okay, good. 2 things then. So if my family and I want to go kayaking there, we have to understand we're there for 2 hours.
Yes, sir.
And how many spaces are lost because of that hatched area? Or not spaces, but how much?
Well, we're looking at, it's probably between 6 or 7, and maybe more when we finally mark it off. But it's only one loading zone, and the rest will be for parking. We also have to consider, when we look at the amount of parking space, we want to make sure that there's enough room at the rear of that parking that it'll be enough for people to actually exit as well as enter.
So by designating this area specifically, we lose what, a couple of spaces or
Yes,
two?
yes, but yeah.
Choices aren't many, are there?
No,
Yes,
the fact
well-
is that the kayak companies do unload there every day.
Yeah.
Sure.
They can go out, so.
Yeah.
And often stay there for a while.
Yeah. And again, for, I guess for the public and everybody else, it's a little different, but for us, all it takes is one incident to happen.
Oh, gosh, yeah. And the ordinance, Craig, just in language form reflects all of this.
Yes, sir.
Well, it's a solution.
Just out of curiosity, when they leave after they put their kayaks in the water, where will they park their vehicles?
Those are some things that we're negotiating for the public parking in different areas. And that's some things that we're gonna work on together.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? So this is the first reading, so could I have approval for the first reading of this ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Craig. This is the CARTA budget?
It
Is-
comes to us every year.
Right, there's no one here from,
I don't think there's anyone here from Carter. They really don't,
No,
they don't show up anymore, really. They just send us their budget to
well, they
approve.
were gonna send somebody and then he got called away on an
Oh.
emergency, so. he-
So all the municipalities or the organizations, government agencies that's part of CARTA, they have to approve the budget and then it goes to the full board to let them know that all the municipalities that are members have signed off on their budget.
okay.
If you have any specific questions,
Yeah.
I can gather them and take them to CARTA. But I think they have a pretty detailed memo that the Deputy Director of Finance had provided, Robin, Ms. Mitchum.
It's a standard procedure every year.
Yes.
We don't have to get into this, but, if you look under capital, that's a huge change between 22 and 23. I have no idea, but from fleet repair from $19 million to, well, whatever. Okay. Can I have a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? You may want to ask him that, Stephanie.
About their capital expenditures?
Yeah, I mean, this is such a big change.
Yeah, and they have a little bit of explanation on their second page with regards to the, essentially
Okay.
explains kind of the significant reasons for those changes.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Item C, tab 7, approval of the proposal from Stagefront for audiovisual services.
Yes, that would be Michael.
Mike?
Good afternoon, Mayor, Town Council members.
Another duty as assigned, huh?
Yeah. I'm just here to seek the approval, as long as town staff, of a contractor for audio and visual equipment and upgrades. So just give you guys a little bit of background. During the pandemic and post-COVID era, we've undeniably increased our reliance on the use of technology. It seems as every other meeting seems to have virtual components to it. The original designers of our audio and visual system in council chambers in the training room did not have this in mind 5 years ago when they designed it. And so we're also trying to upgrade the live streaming component of this as a new standard in essential technology. Municipalities across the country for their respective communities, and an upgrade is required within our audio and visual system to provide an improved virtual experience for meeting attendees and enhance our live stream capabilities to offer better communication and services to our community. The analysis portion is that the town staff has put together a scope of work that will encompass all the upgrades that are necessary for council chambers and the training room to meet virtual Meeting standards and capabilities and live stream enhancements. Town staff has been working to collect proposals from local contractors that work on our specific Crestron system. And we have received 2 proposals from the original designers, Stagefront, and another contract company, McWaters. The total sums of McWaters is $99,875.56, and Stagefront $64,910.36. And town staff requests that town council approve the contract with Stagefront for audio and visual upgrades based on the outline proposal. And in terms of budgeting and finance data, the cost of $64,910.36 for this project has been budgeted for in this fiscal year.
Why the big difference?
I have they didn't set in their proposals, the design aspect of McWaters' proposals was 6,000 and change, and I also believe they left themselves a buffer because of supply chain issues. A lot of companies have chosen to, because I reached out to not just these 2, but 2 additional companies, and the equipment has become considerably more expensive and hard to get.
Michael, will this mean that we'll be able to air all of our committee and board meetings,
Yes.
and they'll be available to the residents?
Yes.
And
Yeah, this will enhance the live stream so much so that all these presentations that we show in this room will be also available to the public through the live stream.
Thank you.
Everything will be integrated as well.
Well, just given that, I'd like to move this approval for first reading.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second?
For those, Michael, you and Petra, that use it, you know what they're going to suggest? You feel comfortable working with it and everything, what they're proposing?
Yes, they will offer us free training, unlimited, and yeah, everything that we have talked about in terms of upgrades will be met.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Any other comments?
No, ma'am.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Kiwa. Project approval from the Kiawah Conservancy.
Oh, you want to do it, Lee? Instead of letting normally Jim introduce it and do it?
I don't know. Well, Petra was like, go ahead and go up there, so.
Well, I was gonna meet you then, just go out and it's way back.
He was just bouncing.
See, this won't be happening anymore now that you've given funding.
Jim, we want to see your smiling face,
Very nice.
and you're in beautiful places.
He hides out now in his office.
Oh, jeez. There you go.
Thank you. All right, good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, Jim.
So this is something obviously that we've done for the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, but provide a pool of funding available to the Conservancy. Over the last 4 or 5 years, it's really been focused on sea level rise, resilience work. We've done some work on the marsh. All of that is in the proposal that the Conservancy provided. So we've got $73,000 budgeted this year, and the Conservancy has developed a proposal totaling that amount. This was discussed at the last Environmental Committee meeting. The Environmental Committee voted unanimously to recommend council approval. So you've got the actual physical proposal, but Lee's here today just to kind of walk you through everything and answer any questions.
Thank you.
So with all that, Lee, you're up.
Thanks, Jim. Good afternoon, council. So, as Jim mentioned, I'm Lee Bundrick. I'm the Senior Ecological Health and Conservation Coordinator with the Kiwa Conservancy, and I helped put together this proposal that you have here today. And just to give some background of the Conservancy, I think it's important to remember that we're a land trust that operates on Kiawah Island, we were founded by the town of Kiawah Island through a Blue Ribbon Panel Committee from the Town Environmental Committee. And since then, we've been doing a lot of really good work on the island, as Jim mentioned, trying to help out with the town's resilience efforts and trying to forward some different thinking about how we can improve the environment. We hold about 2,286 acres of land under preservation, and we're looking to steward those lands better, but not only just our lands, but also the lands on Kiawah Island and beyond that affect the Kiawah River watershed, which is fitting within our new mission statement, which is we measure, manage, improve, and advocate for the ecological health of Kiawah Island and its environs, which is far-reaching and includes a lot of areas of southern Johns Island and all of Kiawah Island and a little bit of Seabrook. And we're looking to find out the best ways we can improve the ecological health of this entire area, as well as Kiawah Island. And as Jim mentioned, we were focused on a lot of resilience efforts in 2018 up until now. We've had the adaptive management plan with Kika, and we had Lucas Hernandez kind of guide us through that process and assisting the town as well. And the Conservancy saw this as an opportunity to look at ways that we can not only improve the resilience of the island, but also improve our natural habitat as well. So in 2019, we sought funding and received it from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation for a project that would look into solutions that could provide some benefit to the natural habitat, but also try to improve community resilience. So we engaged with a lot of stakeholders on the island to discuss, what types of projects would y'all be looking for, what would work. And mostly we were focused on how can we protect the marshes and how can we mitigate stormwater issues on the island. And we identified about 13 practices which have been vetted recently that detail information about, how do you put in these practices, how do you install them, how do you prep sites, and importantly, when you put them in, how do you maintain and monitor them. Once we found these, we made this really long document that details everything you need to know about all these practices, which is going to be released sometime early this fall. And what we're looking to do is actually roll these out, try to figure out ways that we can start promoting these on the island, get residents involved with putting them in, as well as trying to figure out which places work best and trying to prove the concepts that we have outlined in those documents. And one specific practice in particular that we're interested in is what we call native rain gardens. Essentially what they are stormwater mitigation practices that can be put on a small scale in a residential landscape or perhaps in a park or small area. And not only does it promote that rainwater infiltration into the ground to keep stormwater from pooling in certain areas, but it also has native plants in there that benefit wildlife and improve the ecological function of an area. So there's a dual function to these gardens, and not only do they work, they also provide an aesthetic appeal. So they add those native plant benefits, and they have nice flowering plants that benefit pollinators and add to the overall aesthetic of Kiawah Island. So what we're looking for into what was outlined in the proposal is to create several rain garden demonstration areas within the town's jurisdiction to serve as like a demonstration of not only their function but their aesthetics, and be able to showcase to the public this is what they look like and have educational opportunities to talk about the gardens and how we can provide natural solutions for the island to help mitigate our rainwater issues. But there are some dual benefits to this as well. What we're really interested in at the Conservancy is building partnerships with not only people on the island, but external to the island, so we can make the most out of all of our work. So trying to push for more public-private collaborative work, and also providing benefits to the residents of the island. So what was discussed in some of our discussions with the ECRF project we had funded was, we want residents to be able to get these designs out, and they want to know what they look like and how to put them in. We engaged with a contractor, and they're willing to help us draft certified designs for rain gardens that we can give out to the public so they can put it in their landscape pretty easily. And they'll be vetted by ARB and all the other organizations on the island. And to further push this, we'd like to see if we can get residents involved with learning more about rain gardens and how to put them in. So having some workshops that would allow people to come in and learn more about them, and also have an opportunity to actually install one. And we are getting Clemson Extension to help us out with this project and contracting with them to help facilitate that process. And they'll cover all the topics you would ever need to know for how to put in a rain garden, how to choose plants and how to maintain them, and to ensure long-term function. And we're also interested in trying to find contractors that would help install these. That was one of the barriers that we ran into previously, and we like to identify contractors that would be willing to help put those in, and be people that we can recommend in the future so that people have an idea where to go. And with this, so we want to install these demonstration areas, and we want to put these rain gardens out, but we don't want to put them out everywhere, and maybe it doesn't work in this one area and does work in this area. And we would like to identify those sites that could potentially work, and probably look for sites that would fit for other solutions that we identified through that nature-based solutions catalog. So what we would like to do is engage with the Lowcountry Hazard Center at the College of Charleston to conduct a geospatial analysis of the upland areas of Kiawah Island, to look at the vegetation on the island, the elevation changes, and ultimately the habitat health of the island, and just create a one-time assessment that we can use to identify specific areas right now that are in need of some type of resilience practice that we could use. So again, this would be forming public-private partnerships. So we're working with the College of Charleston, but also consulting with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, which have offered to consult on the project. And also looking at areas not just within Kiawah Island, but everywhere within the Kiawah River watershed that fits within the Conservancy scope. But it would cover all of Kiawah Island and all the areas that would eventually, through rainwater or stormwater issues, would impact Kiawah in some way, shape, or manner.
Yeah. Assessment to whom?
Assessment for, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
You just mentioned assessment, it perked up. What, to whom?
Well, for not only the Kiwa Conservancy, but the town. I think what we're interested in is identifying areas that could be used to bolster resilience, so areas that potentially have unhealthy conditions or maybe conditions that are more vulnerable than others.
I'm sorry, assessing. Not,
Yes.
Not assessment in the sense.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so all this is going to be mapping and trying to figure out
I'm sure
areas.
that's a verb or noun, but I got it.
Sorry about that. But while we're looking at this one-time assessment, or an analysis probably is a better way to put it. Yeah. What we want to do is look at how we can, and in the Conservancy, take new products in the future that we get, new mapping products, whether it be aerial imagery or other products from DNR, and incorporate that in the future to identify areas, so establishing a process that we can do in-house. And this comes at a very opportune time because earlier this year, the Community Association, the town, and the Conservancy were able to engage with Coursera International, which got us elevation data, light detection and ranging data, and aerial imagery, which all comes at a very high resolution that we can get very good information from. And this is an opportunity to utilize that data in a meaningful way. And we're willing to share all of the products that we produce in this project with the town and any of the partners that would allow, that would help them identify areas and kind of forward collaboration. So. And this is just an outline of that. So $45,000 for the rain garden installations and outreach kind of efforts that are tailored along with that, and $28,000 for geospatial research. Yes.
How does this interface with marsh management consultative engagement that we have? I mean, is this the same?
Are they going to be linked?
Yeah.
They're going to be linked a little bit. So I think with what they're doing with that plan, they're looking at large scale on Kiawah Island, but we're looking kind of beyond that and looking at directly what types of stewardship efforts we should be looking towards. And this would use different products that are going to be available after the marsh management plan. I'm thinking since the marsh management plan, the ending of that project would be sometime in September, I believe. And we haven't received the data products from Coursera International yet. So utilizing those projects or those products would be useful in that process. And they're more up to date.
Sure, please.
I imagine that part of the marsh management plan
Mhm.
was the education of people, and that through the rain gardens and
Mm.
the maritime forest health assessment, there will be opportunities to also educate further on marsh management.
Yes, absolutely. And one thing about the rain gardens is that every single bit of water, stormwater runoff that runs off into the ponds eventually finds itself in the marsh. So putting in these practices in the upland area does indirectly help prevent any issues that we'd see in downstream into the marsh. So
You said that
yeah.
the project ends in September, but really it's a life project,
Yeah.
marsh management.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
thank you.
So a homeowner that attended marsh management presentation, this would be very consistent in terms of
Yeah.
what they learned, what they were exposed to, what they understand.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and I believe that most of the practices that were presented at the marsh management plan were developed by the Conservancy and were used by the marsh management plan team for their project. So, yeah.
Tomorrow they'll also give an update at the planning commission.
Right.
yes,
Okay.
excellent. Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you, Lee. Just to clarify, this is in the budget?
Did we budget 70,000? So it's a little over, but yes, it's in the budget.
So we're just, okay,
Yeah, we're just like 3,000
okay.
over, but it's.
Could I have a
we can easily
motion to
find it.
approve, please?
I so move.
And I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion?
No, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Lee, nice job. Public Safety Committee appointment? Mary Ann, are you, Craig?
Yeah, this is to replace you go ahead, Mary Ann. Mary Ann, go.
Bear.
Craig's got it.
I know. Mary Ann can do it.
Replacement is for Julie Bear, who was with the Freshfields organization before it was sold to Eden's. And Craig has the name of the person.
Yeah, Nancy Robinson.
She will be part of our public safety committee and will be attending the meetings on a monthly basis and give us input on Freshfields, any activities that need to be addressed.
And she works for?
Yeah, this is a swap.
Got it.
She was Julie, so it's just replacing Julie
Okay,
with their representative.
okay. Motion to approve, please?
Wait a minute,
I so move.
Ms. Tillerson, this person from Kiwa has been,
Kika?
from Kiwa, yeah, Mr. Harris, he sent me an email. Oh,
There's a second.
there's a second person.
Replacement.
Oh, that's not on here? Oh, okay, that's not part of the agenda?
It just, well, it's on the agenda because it's part of the PSC appointment. It's just that there was two people that were supposed to be replaced because,
But we only have one.
I understand.
Oh, got it.
I put it in the.
Who is the second person, Mark?
See, it's right there.
And the second person, you have to come up. The second person is Mark, who would be replacing Carl, who Carl resigned. And Mark, some of you, well, you weren't here with Mark, but, so the second person is Mark to replace. So it's two. That's it.
Correct. He was named today. Has background in security emergency management. Used to work for Charleston County as well as Charleston City Emergency Management. And he's been an asset to Kika with GIS program and everything else for a little while.
So this is to appoint both.
Yes, two.
The two representatives, one for Kika.
Okay. Did we clear that? Motion to approve both candidates?
Move that we accept both of these individuals.
Second,
Public safety committee.
second, Mary Ann?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Arts Council annual budget, annual report, excuse me.
Report. You want to do? Chris would like to do that for the communications. Would you like to add anything, Ms. Conley? You have your notes? Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and council members. This is just staff is just seeking approval to publish this onto our website. This is the 21-22 annual report. As you can see, we had 32 events compared to, I believe it was 2005, 2006, where we had 10 events. So we're definitely pleased with the success that we had in this past season.
Thanks, Chris. Mary Ann, do you want to please add? Sure.
You will all have a copy of the annual report to the Arts Council. And some of you may not realize that they've had many challenges over the past couple of years since COVID. They've had to work with reduced capacities for the venues. They've had shortages of help. Inflation, of course, has impacted the pricing, and there have been some staffing changes. As Chris just mentioned, we did have 32 events, 20 musical, and then 6 various other arts venues. And I'd like to really just take a moment before we move this to thank Ruthie and her staff, whoever that is. I don't think she has a staff, does she?
No.
Just Ruthie.
The Arts Council members all
And
pitch in.
also the 10 dedicated volunteers for the Arts Council, and of course David Wall, who took over when the previous head was deceased. But they've done a great job, and I just want to thank them.
And I would just like to add one other thing that you mentioned, that we could not do this without all of our partners.
And also with Barbara Steele.
Who works for the resort. Yes,
Who's
but
particularly great help.
yeah, but our partners have really helped us in terms of looking at locations and costs and keeping costs manageable. Thank you.
This is not one of the hidden gems of Kiawah and Seabrook. This is just the gem of Kiawah and Seabrook. I mean, I think it's widely known. It truly, truly, truly makes us different from most any community. And the quality of the presentations, the performances, and the staff and the services are thanks to all of you. And so, well done. Money exceedingly well spent. Just a motion to approve the report?
So moved.
All in favor? Please take that back, Ruthie, to your committee, that how much we appreciate all that they've done. Town administrators report.
Well, so I was on vacation all last week. I don't have a report, but
That's not an excuse.
I know that's not an excuse, right? The only thing I know, Mr. Moffett knows about this, we're going to give a report on Kessel Court.
We can, if we didn't.
Oh, I wasn't sure if you was going to say that during your council members. So I don't know, Brian, just to let you all know that there was a little bit of delay, but we're working through that process. And so, as I understand, Brian, we have gotten all the approvals that we need now so that we can go ahead and move forward in about a week or 2 weeks.
Almost. The community association is requesting additional information that the contractor is putting together right now. And he feels confident that we'll be able to satisfy their requests and get this moving. But everybody's ready to move forward as soon as that additional information has been relayed back to the community association.
But it should be pointed out that because of when the equipment is going to be delivered, it shouldn't impact the completion date of the project.
Right.
It just
Yeah.
narrows that time between the
That's correct.
work and the delivery of the equipment.
Yeah, because we were waiting on some equipment anyways that's scheduled to come at the end of August or September. Carolina Waste is going to give us some temporary, essentially our current equipment, but our larger equipment is delayed anyway. It's delayed, and we knew that going in at the beginning that it was going to be end of August or beginning of September. But once that project's complete, we'll be able to put some temporary equipment there while we wait on our permanent equipment to come in.
Okay.
But other than that, not unless you have any specific questions about anything, I think the mayor had covered a number of things already in his mayor's address, so I have nothing new to add.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's
You
nice
were gone,
to,
what,
it's
6
nice to be
six
back.
months or something like that?
Yeah, it feels like it. It's nice to be back. Thank you.
Council members? John?
Not today.
Mary Ann?
Yes, I do have a couple of comments. The first one, I don't want to ignore Chris and his leadership with the Arts Council, so we thank you also, Chris. Another thing that occurred this week is that this is a small thing, but it means a lot to us. Our public safety officer received a thank you note from Inlet Cove. Now, no one can appreciate that as much as I do. Because we have had so many situations with the traffic on Beachwalker, and Inlet Cove has been directly impacted. So I thought it was really nice to get that, and I told Craig, this is really good, you know? But that really concludes my report.
Thanks, Marianne. By virtue of the way the agenda worked out, I'm going to go back to the comprehensive plan update. We kind of just approved the budget and didn't give John an opportunity to speak. This is an exceedingly important topic, and just can't emphasize it enough. We really, it sets in place an opportunity for all stakeholders, our community association, the developers, the community at large, the Conservancy. The list just goes on and on and on. It's a 6-month project. LS3P and Kimley Horns knows an awful lot about our town, and I think we will all benefit from the level of experience that they have and the work that they've done, and the engagement that they've used in building buildings and preparing sites and doing studies. So just can't emphasize it enough. John, do you have anything to add? I mean, we moved into the numbers and we didn't give the big.
I mean, if you want some color, I can give some color.
Well, we don't have to take up everybody's time. I think just to emphasize, but go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, beginning hopefully in a couple of weeks, we'll be able to sit down with the team to essentially work through onboarding. And from there, the beginning stages of the comp plan will be really stakeholder engagement through a few what we call onboarding and kickoff meetings. And that, so we'll be reaching out to all of the stakeholders, similar to what we've done with the marsh management plan as sort of a small work team developing as sort of the core. And that will include representatives from all of the entities to make sure that we understand their priorities moving forward, looking at the next 10 to plus years. One of the things I think that will also be important as part of this plan is to know that we'll be looking at not just each of the elements separately, but holistically for sort of a visionary kind of component. So we have our town vision, but I think in order to help our community, we've had a lot of new residents be engaged in development and planning. So just to help them orient and become more familiar with the planning process, help them be part of that sort of vision engagement. And so they'll be able to be part of visioning sessions for that, which is pretty different from what we've done in the past.
You know, the community continues to request, and I appropriately so, this whole issue of transparency. Kind of the corollary, the flip side of transparency is really engagement. So we will do everything we can to make sure that everybody knows about this process and dates and times and locations and everything, so that they can become engaged. And I think it's through that engagement that then they can say, you know, that they understand what is going place. This is a plan that, you know, 10 years, 5 years, 10 years, and there's going to be this, a lot will change. Clearly, a lot will change. The status quo will not be something that we will be dealing with for those of us around 5 years from now or 10 years from now. So I think this is an important area. So Chris and Shine, your staff, you know, everything we can do to continue to emphasize to the community, please participate. Come when these dates and times occur. Okay, citizen comments, anything, anybody? Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Sorry, not quite a citizen, but close. Just wanted to introduce myself, Mr. Mayor and Town Council, Ryan Kunitzer, Fire Chief for St. John's Fire District. Colleen Walls, who the Public Safety Committee and Town Council worked with, retired in October, and I was selected to fill her spot. And I look forward to continuing the work with Ms. Connolly that we started, Ms. Tillerson, and Mr. Harris as well, too. And, you know, I think what's important to stress for our organization is that we're growing, we're expanding some of our services, and we're excited about what the future holds for St. John's Fire District. Not just from an incident response, but also from what we like to call community risk reduction. We had 78 calls last year just from Kiawah from residents where we assisted them with smoke alarms in their home, whether that was providing new alarms or just getting them the right information to replace existing alarms that they had through wired systems and things like that too. So we're going to keep expanding those services, and we look forward to working with the town in the future.
Very good, very good. Colleen came to us at a time, or came to St. John's at a time when it was challenging at best, and she did a marvelous job in terms of really settling the, some really turbulence, and look forward to, wish her well, and then look forward to our relationship with you, so. Motion to adjourn. Oh.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
I'm Dwayne Lapp with Title Trails.
I'm Ryan Kennedy with Water Dog Paddle Company.
And we just wanted to say we've been working with Craig to make that nice and safe out there. I think the loading zone is a great idea. Something we would like you to consider is after the season, it seems like the season is much more packed, especially around the 4th of July. So we try to get in, unload our stuff. We've already talked about this, and then get our vehicles and everything out of there. After the season, what we had talked about is we will have a lot less employees. We will have a lot less people coming in, and we were wondering if we could maybe get one of our vehicles in there. We use, and I'm going to pass this out if I may. This is a truck with a tailgate extender. It basically is allowing, it goes in the back of the truck almost like a set of goalposts. You put the kayaks in there, and then we've done this in the past at Kiwa River Bridge, and then we just basically take the tailgate extender out, throw it in the back of a pickup truck, so there's one parking place. And one of the reasons we want to do that is we have a lot of safety equipment in our vehicles. We have jacket sizes for everybody. We just think it's a little bit safer, maybe in the off season, if we can have like one parking place right there. I don't know if that's, we just want you to possibly consider that.
Richard, you'll continue to work with Craig?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And Ryan and I work.
Really will be their recommendation.
Yeah, Ryan and I work together close. We've known each other for a long time, even though we're competitors, okay? We're friends. So what we do is my guides help him, his guides help us.
Right.
And so the idea is to get everything in and out of there so people can come in and get a place to park.
The best thing is to continue to work with Craig, though.
May I ask one quick question, council member?
Yes, ma'am.
For when you guys are operating there, are you conducting business there, or is all the business being conducted someplace else and you're just meeting? Because that really is for, public use, but are you operating a business at that location?
Yeah, we're just meeting our customers there and just taking them out on a kayak trip. Everything else is done over the phone.
Okay.
I did have one, I concur with everything Dwayne said. I am a different business. I was run a little bit differently, and even though they're very similar. And like for us, I was just asking if it could be considered that the loading and unloading zone may be increased. It said 15 minutes on there. There's not much we can do in 15 minutes. To be just frank with you, it would be 45 is probably cutting it close to do everything it usually takes us an hour at least to get ready for everything. We could probably shave that down to 45, if we really need to. We're here to work with you, right? And with Craig, and we appreciate the support and just being able to listen to us and the way that we both work differently. And we're kind of custodians out there every day almost, and trying to keep that place clean, and for the parking, and try to limit the foolishness, that goes on, stuff like that. He was saying that, the spike of this, I guess the most intense parking situations come on the holiday weeks of 4th of July and right around maybe those 2 weeks. So where we also start to see maybe, one or two other outfitters come out too, I guess, just because there's so much overflow and you start getting people from maybe, outfitters from Foley or something like that coming out, you know, and it's really only those 2 weeks, really, that I would say are the problem weeks. It does really alleviate just coming up here in the next couple of weeks, you know, week or two, it'll start to alleviate as kids go back to school. And then spaces will be freed up. But it is, you know, Mr. Moffitt, I welcome any ideas, consideration on where we could go take the truck and trailer during the tour, because that's one of the challenges here with this new proposed process, okay? It also adds more manpower for us every single day too. You know, that's somebody coming out, helping load, unload, take the car away, stuff like that as well. You know, we're a seasonal business, every dollar matters, and that adds up to us as well. So,
May I ask you one more question?
yes, ma'am.
If that area was closed off and we didn't allow launching, where would you do it and where would you park?
Maybe a whole another challenge. I'd have to think on that one.
Okay.
Wouldn't be much option for us, you know?
The other thing too is Ryan and I operate at different times. We go earlier than he does, so our stuff will be in and out of there before he gets there. And so he'll have room to come in there, and so it won't be like we'll have, you know, 2 trucks and 2 trailers in there at the same time.
Yeah, we'll stagger all that, coordinate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Craig, I would ask that you kind of get this squared around. I hate to, this was the first reading, I hate to approve an ordinance if the ordinance says one thing, but in practice, it, you know, 15 minutes, but we're really not doing it in 15 minutes, and then what do we got? We seem to run into ourselves too many times with that. So before second reading, please, if you could.
We can do amendments on second reading.
Okay, motion to adjourn? Thank you all. Now we move into, or do,